Hello YouTubers, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Got2 Monsters set, which is exclusive to B&M for 2017. Now, other sets in the range include the 4th Doctor set, and also the 9th Doctor set. Now, if you'd like me to review either of those two sets, please let me know in the description below. Not in the description, in the comments below, there we go. So yes, this is the one that pretty much anyone gave a shit about, which was the Monsters set, because it sees finally the re-release of the Cyber Controller, and there is a slight difference, which I'll go on to in a minute. And we have a new variant. This is an attack Cyberman, but without the damage and the oils that were on the Cyberman and Perisex. Basically pretty much nearly identical to an Earthshock Cyberman, and we have Commander Skorr right at the end here, and he's pretty much just a re-release as well. On the back of the box it basically just says what the figure is, and interestingly the Cyber Controller has a silver band around the head there. I've no idea why. I don't know if it was supposed to have that, or if they just forgot about it. Oh no, he does actually have a silver band. I literally just noticed that. He does. It's hard to tell on the line, but the vacuum painted there, this bit silver. But anyway, let's get these figures open, and let's start off with the Cyber Controller. That makes the most sense here, since he's the first figure. And interestingly, character are no longer using those sort of paper thread ties. They're actually using little elastic bands, which they used to use to keep Dalek eye stalks in place. So that's how I can pretty much best describe it to you. So here we have the Cyber Controller, and he's basically identical or nearly identical to his original. The body is pretty much identical, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's got a really nice silver paint wash to it. It's basically the Tomb Cyberman colour scheme. In fact, the arms are Tomb Cyberman arms, but it looks really nice. You've got all the creases and that. I didn't notice this, but my one has a slight little muck-up just here in the middle, unfortunately. We can see you've got the creases, the seam going down the back, which is all nice and correct. And let's just take a look at the head. So the head is the new thing here, and while the sculpt is exactly the same, the paint job is now made to be more accurate. So basically it's a bit darker than the original release, and also sorry, that was just something falling off. So we've got here, basically it's a darker grey, and you can see you've still got sort of like the grills around the side, sort of like almost the ears. However, the joints do seem more prominent around the side here. However, this thing can actually get away with that because it kind of looks like the head plate where it clips together. If we take a look at the eyes, actually, if I shine a light at the Cyber Controller, if you give me a second. If I shine the light, you can see it's those eyes are really shiny compared to the original. I don't have the original with me, it's at my grandparents' house, but you can see they're really shiny, and so's the mouthpiece as well. It's a bit difficult to see, but if I just catch it, that really does shine a lot more. And also, the black seems slightly darker, but also slightly thicker than the original. It seems, you know, a bit darker, a bit thicker. And the brain, I can't tell if it's darker or thicker, but I mentioned that it's now got a silver band going all the way around, and also this piece at the back, which is where the battery pack would be to light up the brain. So basically, oh, this thing's dead. Let's try this one. So basically, ooh, light up the brain. You can't really light it up because it's basically a solid piece. The tubing I don't know, it seems slightly darker, the tubing. I can't really tell. It might just be, it's like they've given it a sort of darker silver wash over the top. And also, I've noticed that the waist on this is pretty loose. And interestingly, the waist was fairly loose when it was a builder figure as well, so that's just something to mention. Articulation, the head can't really turn, but couldn't anyway. Oh, there's a blemish there. I'm finding more things wrong. The arms, there we go. The arms can't quite do a 360. This is due to the sort of tubing around the shoulders here that hinders it. And again, we don't quite have a 360 due to the piping on the arms, but they can. It doesn't hinder them bending because it is a very rubbery plastic. And we've got 360 at the wrists. The legs can go out to 90 degrees, and they can also bend at the knees. And we've got feet articulation, and the fact, you know, that when this was released, character went to all the extra effort to resculpt the legs, you know, and the chest piece and everything. They really made the effort to make this, you know, a very special figure, because most people just will probably look at it and just go, oh well, it's just because it's nearly the same as the other apart from that. But there are a lot of differences with this. Basically, the only things that are the same compared to a Tomb Cyberman are the arms. They're literally the only thing that are the same is the arms. Basically, a really nice figure, and I know a lot of people were really looking forward to being able to get the Tomb Cyberman controller. You know, finally being released again, and actually the first time you can actually buy it without getting all the Age of Steel wave of figures. So we're hey for that, and I really do like this, and this may be enough alone to warrant the cost of this box. Alright, so here we have the Attack of the Cyberman, and this is just a standard Cyberman, basically. Now, again, this is pretty good. I know a lot of people will probably just like, oh, why couldn't they at least do a Cyber Leader, you know, or why not do a new head and do a Cyber Controller? Well, costs. They want to keep costs down. And since they're no longer actually making any new figures, at least from scratch, they're just releases. So it is nice that we've got at least this, because the Earthshock Cyberman is pretty rare nowadays. He's not extremely rare, but he is pretty expensive to find, especially a one in the box. But this Cyberman is nearly identical. I will say the wash he's been given a much darker wash. It's like basically they've painted it grey, like the Rogue Cyberman with Perry, and then they've given it a silver wash over the top. You know, so it's not quite as bright as the original. However, the head and the chest unit are the same. Also, if I just remove his gun, and we'll take a look at the chest piece here. They haven't actually painted. There's a little yellow piece that was normally painted out. They've left that silver, which is correct. Now let's take a look at the head, and actually something they have done with the head in terms of a paint job. First of all, let's take a look at those eyes. Those eyes are completely solid black, whereas previously they were sort of a very dark grey colour, but this one, they are completely solid black. And I think it looks much better for it. Also, the top section, they haven't painted black, they've left it silver. Not a big issue, you know, this piece being left silver, but it is really nice. Interestingly, they've painted the tubes silver as well, and I'm not quite sure why, but they have painted them silver rather than leaving them transparent. So you paint the tubes around it silver, but you don't paint the jaw piece silver. I think that's just to show off the chin inside, because I think characters like, well, we won't all bother to sculpt it once, you know, we want everyone to see in every single Cyberman release in this variation. But everything else is basically the same. I'm actually going to pop the head off because my one is kind of pushing the head off almost. So we're going to just... my one seems to be resting on top of the head, where it should actually be underneath, poking out. But actually, if I do remove this, you can actually see the body section and just the way it goes on. But actually, the helmet should be slightly tucked under. There we go. There we go. Cool. Put his head back on. Finally got it back on. And just to prove that I am right, if you look at the prototype image here, you can see that it is meant to be over the top. So I guess it's just the way this one was packaged. I guess it, you know, and the chest unit is really good on this figure. They've left all this silver as well, but you can see all the tubing in that and all the different gores and grooves, especially around the side, the tubing going around here. And even on the back, on the helmet, they've even bothered to actually putting 2 of the 4 screws that would be on the back, but you can see the little line of where the plate for the helmet would be. What else have they done? You know, basically, it is really nicely detailed with all the tubing going everywhere and that. And the new thing, obviously, that well, they're not new, but the boots, basically, you know, if you've got the paying Rogue Cyberman set like I have, that recently went down in price on eBay, actually, to 15 quid. You can see there, you've got the laces and everything. And they still are articulated. It is a pretty simple swap the boots. And I quite like it like this, you know. It is quite nice. Oh, I think I might prefer the moon boots, but even on, if you look at the detail on this, I mean, even on the gloves, you can see the little zipper on here, where the gloves will zip up. He has a fairly loose hand. Yeah, it's weird. Some of the joints on here are incredibly stiff, and some of them are dead loose. He also has a waist articulation. The waist is a little bit loose on here. I don't know what it is on these B&M sets. You know, some of the joints are either ridiculously stiff or ridiculously loose. So anyway, let's take a look at his cyber gun. So it's just a repaint of the Earthshock one. However, it has the correct sort of gold wash to it, and they've also added painted on the various little black sections along the handle, which were added to this gun. I believe there was another ring or another disc somewhere on this end piece, but they haven't added that. Doesn't bother me at all, to be honest. But they've also you know, you've got the wrist straps as well. Interestingly, I believe the strap should be actually on the other side for these guns. Again, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can pose it in various ways. You know, you can have it as simply as just like resting it on his shoulder, or actually posing him with the gun, getting ready to shoot at some cryons. Let's just put him up like that. There we go. So yeah, he's ready to destroy the cryons and also destroy Stratton and Base. Yeah, this is a really nice. This is probably it's either, I think it's my second favourite Cyberman design. I really do love this look for the Cyberman. I think it suits them really well, and I wish that they go back to something like this. And finally we have Commander Skorr of the King Towering Fleet. Skorr the Undefeated. Yeah, I had to do that. So yeah, it's basically your modern series Towering figure, and this is the one that is based on Chris Ryan, which I much prefer than Dan Starkey. No offense, Kim, but Chris Ryan is just better, and he's really good on Big Finish as well. But yeah, so The head sculpt is exactly the same. Again, it seems to have a slightly lighter paint job this time round, and he does have a bit of a shine there, but that's actually off the glue. Yeah, there's a bit of glue on his face, unfortunately, it dripping down his eye, but you can see that it looks really, really good, and the head can turn. Ooh, there goes his helmet. Yeah, the heads can turn. The original Songtaran figures couldn't actually turn their heads, but when they re-released it in the Vethform wave, they actually could. So yeah, this is a slightly wrong. They've got the ident wrong. It should be 5 of those instead of 3. However, I believe if it's based on when he appeared in the Pandora openings, he did have 3. However, interestingly, the picture on the back of the box does show him having 5 on the ident there. But you've got the body, and that's basically a more metallic and shiny paint job to it, which does make it look a lot nicer, than the original ones, which was just a general sort of matte paint job to it. I do quite like the shiny coating to it. You've got plenty of articulation. I never went through the articulation on the side, but on the Earthshock side, man, oh well. You know the articulation for these figures anyway, but it's, really nice. Again, he comes with his Songtaran gun. It would have been nice if maybe they painted these sections red to make it look like it was lit up and actually shooting someone rather than just a solid black, but I don't mind that much. You've got his helmet here, which can just clip on. Actually, this one clips on really well. I remember on some of the Series 4 ones, the helmets were a nightmare to actually get them to stay on, but this one clips on and stays on really well. I never knew anyone who actually bought the Songtaran Trooper figure, because it's basically just a Songtaran figure but without removable helmet, and it doesn't have the ident on. Interestingly, his little communicator on the side, they've left it just blue. However, they've gone to the effort of painting a few of the controls on there black. There's a few little black dots along there, though really I think it should be black. Don't know why they've done that. Really weird. Really weird that they've gone to the effort of doing that. It's still a nice figure as well. It's a pretty small figure. I mean, compared to a Cyberman, my God, he is really short, which shows how short the actor is, but a nice figure nonetheless. I mean, yes, I would have much preferred to have a re-released classic Songtaran. Despite I've got all the classic series Songtarans, I would have loved to have another one as well have been released. I know that we'll probably never ever get a 2 Doctors Songtaran figure, but it's like, and again, just gonna go and deal the perfect bending, all the muscle detail and that. But anyway, that is the B&M set, the Monsters one anyway, for 2017, and I really do like it. I think it's one of the best B&M sets that we've ever had, to be honest. I think it's really good, this one. I know the Ice Warrior and the Zygon, that one I have a re-release of last year. I can't remember what the other figure was in that set. I was going to buy it, but I just never got around to it, unfortunately. Since I already had the figures, I wasn't overly fussed on getting that set. But this one, really nice, really nice set, really nice figures. And they are just starting to come in to B&Ms now. I actually ring up 3 different B&Ms before I found one that actually had them in stock. Anyway, that is it for this review, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.